Welcome back to another MotoGP podcast. I'm here again with Jake, and we're shooting this Sunday directly after the Australian Grand Prix. So we've had a couple of hours sleep, Jake. So what do you think of the race?
It's a classic. It was so exciting that I got so nervous that I couldn't watch it. I had to go out, go start a bike up, and then come back. I thought I'm going to jinx him. I'm going to jinx it, and then boom, quarter hours down. Like, oh damn it, I jinxed him anyway.
Yes. Shall I remind you, he's your pick for the championship?
Yes. I'll stick by my pick. But I thought, I said it was all about the rider. I could see the bike shaking beforehand, like and through practice, I could see it like getting out of shape. I'm like, oh man, they're using the new chassis. Okay, he took a step backward. He's not in a good place. Really, he was not in a good place.
I'm in a great place. I was just like, when the minute Quattararo went down, do you know what I actually thought, Jake? Wasn't anything to do with MotoGP. I was like, let me Google websites where I could get a t-shirt made for a podcast saying Mac was right. Force you to wear it. But yeah, look, what an absolute, I thought like it was barnstormer of a race, like completely turned on top of its head of what I actually envisioned or thought was going to happen. Do you know what I mean? How close they were all running together. It was like a fucking Moto3 race. Like, do you know what I mean? They were all on top of each other. And if one blinked, the other fella was up the inside of him. Do you know what I mean? Whether there was a gap there or not. Like, I just thought it was absolutely stunning. Now, saying that, I did know, that it was going to be a tyres race as well. Do you know what I mean? Everyone knew, like 10 laps to go, who had the pace at that stage was definitely going to be in there. And I never in a million years thought it was going to be Alex Rins was going to come through. I thought he would be Joe. Like, he didn't qualify that well. He didn't. I was like,
Yeah.
But seeing how he.
I thought they were having beers at free practice. You didn't see who they were. Yeah, I thought they were having a party. Where were they?
Exactly. Do you know what I mean? And it was just like looking at how he was able to get that Suzuki to turn out in the Southern Loop was just epic. Joe, you were like, yeah, he can do it when he wants to do it. It was not like he was just taking an opportunity. He was like, this time I'm going to go past him. Do you know what I mean? And like it was great to see him mixing it with Marquez. Remember, these are going to be stablemates, not teammates, but they're going to be stablemates next year. So I thought it was good that he was maybe sending a message to Marquez as well to say, hey, buddy. Thought it was quite funny with Marquez at the end of it. He wouldn't say that Rins did the better job than him today, like in his interview after. He was just, and he's like, no, they do. I don't think they hate each other, but they have a serious disliking of each other. So, maybe that's the play. But I just thought, hats off to him and Suzuki. And I have a video coming out tomorrow about Suzuki, because there's some interesting stuff that people actually don't know what's going on still with Suzuki, even with 2 races to go. So we'll cap it on that.
They're going to a test. What's the point?
Why not?
Because they're broke. Suzuki is in deep financial problems.
Yeah, but the
Japanese companies are not doing well. By the way, they never truly revived from that 2008 financial crash. That's why they cut corners on their bikes now and stuff. That's how the Europeans got ahead of them. But that's
look. They've always claimed that the budget is there for this year and they're going to use the budget. So all right, fair enough. But I commend them on it. You know what I mean? It's very easy to say we're shutting up shop and take your ball and go home and just run with a stupid thing all year. You know?
Yeah.
Marquez, he was brilliant. Look,
unbelievable.
Now, look, I would like the only thing that's stopping me from saying he was rider of the day was that it was an anti-clockwise circuit. They're his favorite.
I still got to call him the favorite. It proves that the rider is still the most important performance product on a MotoGP bike or a World Super bike. All these people said, "Oh, it's the aero's making it so it's all bike." That's bullshit. It's still down to the rider.
Yeah, look, that's a very much a rider's circuit, right? And it's a very much weird one. If the Honda naturally works on that circuit and not on any other circuit, it's a bogey circuit, right? And the Honda was working, right? Because even Alex Marquez was up there through the practice sessions, and Pol Espargaro. So maybe not in the race. Well, we won't talk about Alex Espargaro or Alex Marquez in the race, but so the Hondas looked okay, and it was an out there circuit. But I think, if I'm honest with Marquez, it was a brilliant tactic to go with the soft tire, and it does show how mentally switched on his brain is for racing, that he was able to keep that tire in good stead. You know, but the only thing is, like, in my view, because I think it was turn 4 and turn 10, they're the only two right-hand corners where really put the pressure on the arm. I think he was able to ride normally.
I think he tried normally on that right arm. I do. But once, like I said, you put those meds in there, and they're correct dose. You don't know the difference. He can still do everything when they wear off. He's like, "Oh my god, it's hurting," but when it's 45 minutes, he's fine.
Oh yeah, but look, I just thought, look, you know, I'd like to see him win on a right-hand circuit. Do you know what I mean? Or get in there now, right? And like, for me, that will cement it back now that he's back. Do you know what I mean? I think Malaysia now will be, or Sepang will be a good test of this. And he's even kind of, he didn't say it directly, but he is like, yeah, we'll kind of see next week. Do you know what I mean?
At least he was honest about that. He was saying the bike is ready. That was him going out and doing that. The bike's still hit. Yeah.
But then saying that, right? Like, if you go back to the years ago when Rossi left Honda, right? Mm-hmm. Honda were full of the belief that it's all about the bike.
Yeah, that they said their bike, they were full of crap. That was
it's just idiot. But now, like it's very clear that it's the rider, and like, the only reason I give Rins my vote for rider of the day, well, actually, I'm stuck between Rins and Bezzecchi, if I'm honest. I never thought in a million years Rins would come through, and I never thought Bezzecchi would get up as high. Like, you could see when Bezzecchi was behind Pecco, he would have passed him, in my view, if Pecco went wide, but he wasn't going to pass him just to pass him. Do you know what I mean? And for a rookie, I think, to be switched on like that is amazing. Do you know what I mean? Because if you're up there and you're like, "Fuck it, I could win this." Do you know what I mean? Common sense goes out the window, right? Or remembering of a team order goes out the window, right? Do you know what I mean? And I was just like, okay, and I landed on Rins, and I especially landed on Rins because I just think maybe it's just a nostalgia thing, that it's the perfect sign-off for Suzuki. Do you know what I mean? They can crash out in the next 2 races, but they won a Grand Prix before they exit the championship, because the last time they won was back in 2020. So I think it's a good thing. Pecco, I was really impressed with. I thought it was a mature ride from Pecco. You know, everyone was like, you know, Pecco's going to bin it and crash and whatever, and he's mentally going to crash. And the past 2 races, he's really kind of given those people a subtle middle finger and said, "Shut up." Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I do make stupid mistakes, but you know, I just think he was really, really good. The past 2 races, very switched on. When the 2 boys went past him in the last lap, he didn't immediately tack back. Do you know what I mean? He said after, he's like, if there was a gap there, or if they had an issue, I would have went for it. But otherwise, I was pulling back. But I wish he thought about that in Japan and took his fucking 8 points, because look, it would be a different championship. It'd be well, look, he'd be in a different spot now, but I think he did a really, really good race, and especially I was worried about his pace. FP1, FP2, FP3, FP4, he kind of showed a little bit, but I didn't think he had that pace in him.
No, he was. Both of them were struggling. I wrote in. I said into the site. I said Fabio and Quartararo and Pecco were struggling. It was almost like Japan, where everything was turned upside down and through practice. You know, you can't. No, you know.
Do you think maybe Joe, the Friday and the Saturday did like squeaky bum moments, like of where nerves were they're kind of like, just don't fuck up and crash now. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I think that's an awful lot to do with it. You know, even though they're trying to say that they're remaining calm and they're not worried about each other. Listen, they're up at 2 a.m. thinking and overthinking about what's going on.
And let's not forget, Pecco is 25. Fabio's what, 22 or 23?
23, yeah.
23. Yeah. Pressure affects them differently than when you're 35. You know, in your 30s. You know.
And I think a lot of people say that Joe, with Fabio winning his championship last year, you know, he had the advantage of whatever. And yes, I do believe that when Pecco was far behind, he wasn't as worried or concerned. But I think it's very different, or was very different, with Pecco was only 2 points behind. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the last time he was 20 points or something was as close as Pecco got. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then he crashed. Do you know? So I just think, like, in my own mind, I'm just kind of I was kind of like, well, you know, this is a whole different kind of piss altogether. Like, you know what I mean? Now he's breathing down your neck. Now, Joe, you blink, he's up the inside of you. You're all of a sudden you're level. Do you know what I mean? And like that's if they were battling for Joe between 14th and 15th place, or Joe between 14th, 15th places. That's all the difference is, Joe, one spot. So I think for Fabio, I think mentally he's in a very bad place for himself right now.
And I don't like the fact that he's not talking to his team. He gets mad. He doesn't go to his team. He blocks them out, which shows trouble in paradise.
Yeah. I found it very weird that Yamaha felt the need to release the press statement or acknowledge that it was Fabio's crew chief put the wrong suggestion for the tire pressure. Now, I do call bullshit on it, right? Because I think, firstly, a discussion about tire pressures is done with Michelin, the crew chief, and the rider.
Mm-hmm.
So what I mean, and they'll explain to the rider, if we put it up this high, this is what we estimate that it's going to feel like. Do you know what I mean? Right. And there's like, it's not that the crew chief turns around and says, well, we're going to put it into 30 psi and away you go. Right. Do you know what I mean? So they do work together to try and find what sort of feel that you want on the front, right? So I just think, and then Fabio turned around in the press conference and said it was my mistake.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I'm like sitting there and I'm just like, well,
also, it was a rain race, right, Ron? Mm-hmm. It cools the tires down, and it's impossible. They said he was affected from the flag.
Yeah.
If it was getting too high from heat, it would have to build up. It doesn't build up on going 40 miles.
But what they were saying is that they're overpressuring it, and like this is right. I remember this from my day. Like, if the tire is actually too hard,
right,
it won't squish.
Right.
Right.
But how high do you have to have that? That would be a really
you would have to have it high, like, but like, so if it didn't squish, you wouldn't naturally have grip. Crutchlow faced the same issue, but like other riders, also had the same issue where they started off way too high. Now, I do think, Joe, there was a problem. Joe, I mean, the pressure was too high. That's fine. Do you know what I mean? It does happen. You lose front end feel. You're not going to push it, and it was sensible that he didn't push it, right? Because he'd only face plant himself into the ground, right? So, what I just don't like is that they're trying to make it that it was someone else's problem, and anyone that knows anything about racing knows that the crew chief doesn't decide the tire; it's the rider. Do you know what I mean? They do have a conversation about what type of tire and what you want in the wet. Do you want feel, or do you want durability? Or like, let's just say, for instance, if he took the soft tire or the hard or the medium rain tire, just say, for instance, there would be a discussion about the compounds and how to ride that compound. Do you know what I mean? So look, I do think maybe okay, the air pressure or the pressure went into it. Fabio wouldn't turn around and say, "I want 30 psi in it," right?
Right.
Do you know what I mean? But again, there would have been a discussion that we're going to put, you know, this is what it's going to feel like. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. When they, if you see the narrators, when they talk about tires, they go, when they have the interview, they go to the Michelin tech. They don't go to the crew chief. They'll go to the Michelin tech and say, what are the guys running? What are they doing? Because the Michelin guys tell the crew chief what to do.
Yeah, or like if someone makes a change, yeah, absolutely, yeah. They tell it, which I think is good. It's good, but like I do think Fabio's not in a good place with the team. I think there's argy bargy within the team, and I think then that's creating the gap after. And like you could kind of see it this weekend. He doesn't look broken, but he looks how no, it's just distracted or sad, or do you know what I mean? You could see that he's not his normal self.
His confidence is lacking.
Maybe it's confidence, but like he was flying in testing or in qualifying yesterday. He was flying. Do you know what I mean? He was setting his lap times on his own. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but they were shooting. He shot him off. He was struggling, and he got that one lap off to get to where he was. He wasn't shooting off a lot of fast laps. He was doing a kamikaze lap to get to where he was.
Yeah. It looks. Yeah. Look, he was, and I think, and that's where I wonder, where is it not that he's mentally in trouble? Is it the fact that he's actually mentally exhausted from riding the bike the way he has to ride that bike?
Yeah, and like I said, if this new chassis doesn't seem to be working, has bugs, that's just another hurdle he's jumping.
Right? Yeah, well, well, like look.
The last thing he needs to go. Oh yeah, you have to ride it a little harder. Don't worry about it. Because our mid corner speeds aren't as high, but we're making 2 or 3 kilometers up in the straights. Because now they can use the higher maps, the higher horsepower maps, right? Yep. It's not a lot. It's not. They're not killing it on the straights. It's still down.
No, it's still down. Like I did see. At one stage Fabio was at 2 or 3:48 or whatever it was. He and the Ducatis were at 52 or 50. There wasn't there wasn't a lot of straight line speed difference. But again, I just think this is a
the highest I saw Quartaro was at 340. I was keeping
340, but he did 348 in FP4.
I must have been in a daze. I haven't been feeling well, so I must have might have been.
Because I remember I took the number and I was like, and I went straight to see what's the gap, because they definitely turned up the power, like, do you know what I mean? And then a couple of laps later, he was 342 and this. But look, I just think for me, I was looking at him and I was just like, this should have been a Yamaha track where he should have pissed him. Do you know what I mean? Edge of the tire, roll through the corners. Why didn't I think of the Suzuki? But
because the Suzuki's had big problems with adding horsepower to the chassis. They turned it down a hair, if you noticed. It wasn't more, but it wasn't that great. Like the Ducatis could still walk away from him in the straights.
They can, yeah. They can, and you could see it. Bezzecchi into Doohan's corner, turn one. He was on fire, like he.
Yeah.
You know
oh my God, yeah.
To know how he was closing it, but I just think for Quartararo, he's now going to Sepang, right? Two of the longest straights in the calendar, right?
Boy, that's a catch-22 for Yamaha. Really, it is.
It is like one of those straights that he comes out onto is out of a hairpin, so it's all acceleration. Do you know what I mean?
Oh.
And yeah, look, I just think, like literally, we could Joe Pecco. All he has to do is outscore him by 11 points, and yeah. So, like, if you put a Ducati's first to 8,
yeah. Yeah,
away you go. Do you know what I mean? But
I don't see the team orders being followed very much, though. Do you?
I'm fucking delighted. I'm absolutely delighted. Look, the minute you throw your leg over a bike, you're riding for yourself, and that's the way it should be, and whatever. I fully understand. Okay, if you're not in the title fight, don't get involved in the argument. That's grand. If there's two of them there and they're fighting each other, stay out of it. If they make a mistake, you go. That's fine, right? But it really gets on my goat. Like, I could not fathom now in a car or a bike getting a message and someone saying, leave your man pass or don't try and attack. I would pull into the pit and I would thump whoever sent that message to me.
Oh, Mortabelli. He got that message. Didn't you see?
No, yeah. Cal.
No, Mortabelli got the message. Do not pass. Let him go. Let him go by. When after Quartararo went off the track, they gave Mortabelli.
No, that was Crutchlow. Being followed by number 20.
Okay,
that was get out of the way.
Yeah, the narrator said it was Mortabelli. But either way, okay, if Ducati did the same thing, the press would be all over. Yeah, you know that.
Yeah.
They would be like, "Oh my God, it's horrible," you know.
Well, look, listen, we're talking about Morbidelli. He got it. He has to go. He has to. Like that. It's embarrassing. Crutchlow beat him again, and I know he crashed, right? But Crutchlow beat him solidly. Beat him in this race. If they finished, right now, saying that, right? If Miller and Alex finished, Crutchlow would have finished in like 15th place. Mm-hmm. Top Yamaha.
Yeah. That's. Yeah.
You know, and look, I know I might annoy people and piss people off, but like, you know, all eggs in one basket. Like even Paul Espargaro can finish in around 10th.
Yeah.
Joe what I mean?
Yeah. Honda and Yamaha are relying on their riders. Speaking of that, I'm hoping, as a Marquez fan, I'm hoping that Honda doesn't go, "Oh, it's good enough now," and pull back the development dollars. It wouldn't shock me. I'll tell you right now.
They've
done it before. They're not. They've been riding that Marquez, relying on Marquez for a decade. I
don't know. I think
see the execs doing that.
I think I can see it, but I think they need to dominate a few races first. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not enough yet, right? And kind of luckily, we're at the end of the season when they have to spend the dollars. Do you know what I mean? Whereas let's go back, say 6 months ago, if Marquez started dominating, then the budget for 2023 would be minuscule compared to, but where they are now, they've done their operational planning for 2023, so the budget is there. Do you know what I mean? And Marquez is not. You can guarantee that Marquez is not going to let them take the 25 million or 50 million or whatever they have put to the development of the bike, because he doesn't just want to level Ducati. Do you know what I mean? He wants a bike now that's going to absolutely annihilate them. Do you know what I mean?
At least be on par. He knows the bike's down. You know, he wants a bike that's the same. And why he never moves, I don't understand. I mean, the kid has some kind of a phobic about change. I think if he would have had a KTM, if KTM would have had a MotoGP bike in 2013, all right, they would have had 6 titles now. He doesn't move. You got somebody that doesn't move out of their house, from their mother's house and their parents' house until they're 29, and you have, let's face it, you could have a new girl every week, all right, and you don't move out of your mother's house. That's a person who does not like change, is phobic about change. But
I do, I do. I do agree with you, and I think Alex changing to Ducati next year has been a big unsettlement for Mark and Honda. Do you know what I mean? Because if Alex goes well there, and all of a sudden Alex is maybe 5 seconds behind Mark in a race,
right?
That's going to put alarm bells into Mark Ed's mind going, okay, Alex just needs to turn up in a race weekend and ride a bike. Doesn't have to nearly fecking kill himself in every corner. Do you know what I mean? The bike does the work. I am now getting old. I'm injured. I'm not the same mental person that I was. I don't need money.
Right. And it's calming for him to have his brother there. Huge point for him.
You know, are you telling me that it doesn't even have to be the works team? You're telling me that he couldn't go to Pramac and say, build a team around me for the next 5 years? Yeah. There you go.
And he'd win for the next 5 years. He'd lap the field for the next 5 years on his Ducati. My God.
That's it. That's it. You know, and I just think that's where things are going to go. Well, sorry, I think he's given Honda the kick in the arse. He's given the warning saying, I'm going to be here for another, I think it's 2 years. If the bike's not competitive, you can't expect me to stick around.
But I do like seeing Honda put new aero on and trying. It's better to have him trying and trying to do new things than trying to pull a fast one with Dorna and have things banned or change the rules. That's what I don't like about Honda. I like the racing. I'm all up for anybody. I'm a tech guy, so I don't have a bias with any manufacturer. But I don't like the way Honda execs work. All that behind the scenes crap. Like no one ever getting penalties for 2 years where everybody gets one. They're so blatant about it. What did you say? Why don't they just hand the
pass the brown envelope in front of us? Yeah. Exactly. Look, but I just think myself with Honda, you know, at least they're trying, and they're visibly trying. Do you know what I mean? Like, what new aero have you seen on the Yamaha?
The only time they did was when they cut it back to that little spot to get that track speed, that 1 lap track speed for the press. That's the only time I've seen it.
But that's my point. There's no innovation coming out from Yamaha, but Yamaha used to be always quite good at innovation in the way of trying things.
They were the best of the Japanese, yes.
And now, so I don't know, man. Just looking at it, they're further and further behind.
I think it's stopgap. They're waiting on that V4. It's sitting there being worked on, and they're saying, "Why are we going to put money into this?"
Jesus, can you imagine the T-shirt you're going to have to wear if they come out with a V4 in the next 2 years?
Oh yes,
this whole channel will never live it down. It's like I told you, it's coming. I told you. I can feel it in me waters. But no, I just think Yamaha they're in a fairly difficult spot. Honda are they're trying. Do you know what I mean? I was quite impressed with Aprilia till the last 10 laps of the race today.
But what happened? The tires?
Well, Maverick finished 17th. Do you know what I mean? Looks like he burnt out his tires, and Aleix was quite open actually. Aleix was like, we'll see how it goes. 10 laps to go. we'll know where we are. And then he sunk like a stone. So, but like realistically, if Pecco won today, then the Beast and Elate realistically would have been out of it. Do you know what I mean? And it'll be down just to himself.
It still is, really. I mean, the chances of them winning a title is slim.
Oh yeah, well look, mathematically the Beast and Elate, so it's down to 4 from 5, but mathematically they're still there. You know, funnier things have happened in motorsport where Fabio and Pecco take each other out twice. Well, look, let's look at let's briefly talk about the crash with Alex Marquez and Jack Miller, right? So Alex got it wrong going into the corner, which can happen, right? When you think back to Jack Miller, when
he had to be going 20 mile an hour at least faster than he should. He dived on that corner. It was way in too hot. I mean,
no, well, he was going in way too hard, but he hit Marini, and then Marini that pushed him into Miller, right? But all he gets is a long lap penalty in the next race. So here's my mentality about this.
There goes that bag again.
So if I hit you and you're in the lead of the championship by 14 points, and I can still finish the race, just
mm-hmm.
and all I get is a long lap penalty in Valencia,
right?
But I've probably pulled a gap on you, or equaled that, or brought that gap down. It's only going to cost me 3 seconds. Well, I do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
3 seconds.
Yeah.
It mathematically gets me back into the race, you know, for the title. Yeah. So where's the deterrent there?
Yeah, exactly.
Now, if I had to start from the pit lane because I took someone out, completely out, like for me,
Jack Miller had to start 3 places back for getting in the line accidentally of Alex. Was it Alex Marquez during free practice?
That was Pecco. It was Pecco, yeah. He got a 3-place grid penalty.
3 place, okay. So did Miller at one point. But I mean, look at the difference. I mean, come on.
Miller got a double long lap penalty.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was staying corrected. Yeah,
and like for me, where the problem with this is that look at Fabio and Aleix Espargaro. Fabio took Aleix Espargaro off. Okay, Aleix battled back through and finished whatever it was, 4th or 5th or whatever it was. And Fabio got a penalty of a long lap in the next race, right? But they both finished, they both got points, and he still got a long lap, right?
Yep.
And you look at this race, where your man clearly took him out, and he put his hands up and said, like, all right, yeah. So, and he was sincere and he apologized and whatever. Great. But neither of them got any points. He took a person that was in contention, however far from the championship, and he took him out, and he gets a long lap penalty.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, they're 2 massively different results there.
Yeah.
Like, Miller didn't have the opportunity to get back on his bike and go.
Right.
Like,
yeah. Well, everyone knows that Dorn is in Honda's pocket. I just wish they'd be a little smarter about it and not be so insulting. You know, it's like if you bribe a politician, he does favors for you. You don't splatter it all over the front page of the newspaper. You know,
or pass the brown envelope in front of the press.
Press the brown envelope. Yes, there we go. Back to the envelope. Yeah. It's just, come on, just be a little more. That's where I get pissed off at Honda and Dorna too.
Well, I blame Dorna because they're allowing it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Honda are asking for it, and listen, like it is every manufacturer's chief technical officer to go whinge at the sports governing body. Like you see it in Formula One all the time. Like you could hear it in the radios last year. Even when they were completely wrong, they were arguing why they're right. So that's supposed to happen, but the regulatory body is supposed to be unbiased and fair. And
Yeah, well, I read one time, this was years ago, they said Honda gives more money to Dorna than all the other manufacturers put together. Well, forget it. Like Aprilia, they don't give them shit, because they're on the "we hate your guts" list. They better keep themselves straight. Yeah.
But look, I'm pretty excited to see what is going to happen in Malaysia now, because, like we said, this track favors the Yamaha in Australia.
Mm-hmm.
Have to say that the Malaysia track is going to favor the Ducati, but probably what will happen there is that the Yamaha will win, knowing it the way that we're calling races lately. Do you know what I mean? So look, anything could happen, realistically.
And it's a catch-22, because they come out with a new chassis, right? The new chassis handles horsepower better, so they can put it in the big maps. But their mid-corner speed is down. It's a little unstable, right? Now, are you going to say, okay, go with the slower one? Go with less horsepower, with the one that handles better? Because it's always easier to handle when you have less horsepower, by the way.
Yeah. But I'm still going to take. I'm going to take the big power. Yeah, have to take the big power for that track. Like you cannot give away 12, 14 kilometers an hour on two big long straights. One, okay, maybe. Do you know what I mean? Just get the hell out of that corner fast, right? But two?
But they're only gaining two. They're only gaining like 2 or 3 maybe with a new chassis, because they're just putting the maps in. But the maps can't be handled by the old one. So
yeah, but see, when you look at Sepang, right? You have the straight before the start finish straight, and then you have the start finish straight, and then you have the squiggly bit, and then you have another big straight into a tight right-hand corner, which what you need again coming out of that acceleration.
Right? Okay, I got you.
True. So, and then you go into the windy bits where, like, if they're running high horsepower, and the Yamaha will just get murdered inside there too, because it just won't turn. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
So, like, there's 3 good straights in Sepang, right? So they're going to have to run the high horsepower. But it's going to kill them then in the middle bit, where the Ducati and the Honda and even the Aprilia turn. Do you know what I mean? Well, Honda doesn't really. Marquez turns. Mark turns it with the rear wheel. But yeah, look, I'm pretty excited for the race to see what is actually going to happen there, because I do think it's going to be pretty interesting. Like Fabio has to answer.
But he has nothing to lose now.
Balls to the wall. Yeah. Take him out, sure, and sure. Look, or get him taken out. Maybe Morbidelli might actually find some speed. Do you know what I mean? And block Pecco. That's it. Yeah, that's it. Maybe that would happen. But yeah, look, like if it's anything like this weekend, it's going to be very, very hard to predict what's going to happen. It does look like a Ducati track in my view, but anything could happen. So yeah.
And tell about Simon Crayford tipping his hand there? Or maybe
yeah. Well, you tell us. You tell what Crayford said.
I heard Simon Crayford say that Honda asked Calix for more for more help. So what does that tell you? Are they going to make him a whole new chassis, which could leapfrog him if Calix gets it right? And I'm thinking, is Calix? This is a question for you. Is Calix? Are they really allowed open testing, more or less? Because they're not. It's not Honda doing it. It would be Calix making a new chassis. Now, can they circumvent the rules that way?
No, well, they can't. They can't circumvent the rules because they would be putting a Honda MotoGP engine into that bike. Otherwise, they won't have tires because they're not a manufacturer. So they won't have the proper tires. So
it's a tough road to hoe. You're telling me. They had to do it. How did they do it with the swing arm then?
What do you mean?
How do they develop the swing arm without the engine?
But
And the tire?
that's what they're doing. They are developing the swing arm.
Yeah.
That's why Mark is consistently running it.
Right. Oh, yes. But I'm
Yeah,
saying
that's
the
all
initial,
they do.
the initial for Calix to make it initially. Where did they get the testing
So
from?
where they would have gone, and this is the thing with Calix, and this is where I was trying to find this out. Calix actually built it to requirements, right? Not actually like Calix lick the finger, gets the wind, right? And they're like Yamaha or Honda came in and said we need a swing arm that flexes a lot more within the back. This is where we're seeing with our data is our problem. And Calix were able to take Honda's data and say, okay, we can make a swing arm that should give you more flex here.
Okay.
Way to go. Today the same with BMW because they can't test that either. Do you know what I mean? Now it took Reading a couple of races to get up to speed with the swing arm properly. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
But I think like they can't actually test it. Do you know what I mean? You can make it to a.
I was wondering that because I'm going. I'm waiting for the day that a rich Chinese company or BMW, which they said they were going to do years ago, is going to go to like a UK engineering house and go, here, make me a whole bike, and we'll put our name on it at the end, like Mercedes does. Mercedes doesn't do a damn thing. All they do is give them a check, and Blackley, was there Blackley or Brackley?
Oh, Brackley, high performance. Yeah, no.
Yes.
So yes, so let me. Yeah, that works a little bit differently, right? Then there's powertrains, and then there's the engine department, right? And you're right; they are separate companies. Do you know what I mean? From the Formula One team itself, right? But Formula One have been quite cute in how they regulate that, so that there's still a cost from the team. So, for example, like with the cost cap that Formula One have of whatever it is, 145 million. Red or Mercedes high performance powertrains, i.e., the people that make the engine, that is a completely separate and legitimate company. So they can go and develop the engine, but it is not counted within the power cap or in the cost cap. So
okay,
they would sell them the engine every year to Mercedes Formula One team for 15 million, just say, right?
Yeah, right.
So in their budget for the cost cap, it's 15 million, even though that Mercedes are probably spending 50 million on development. Right. Do you know, does that make sense? Right. So technically they can do it, but all they can run those engines is on a dyno. They can't put a mule car together and run that engine, because that would have to be signed off by the teams, and it would be somewhat similar within MotoGP. If I went to an engineering house and said, I want you to build me a bike, and I put my name on it, they'd say fine, but we can't actually. We can do this. We can build it to the specifications of MotoGP, but unless you're an official testing or our official manufacturer within our new manufacturer, you won't get any concessions. So Honda will never. So if they changed the name or brought in something called Honda, made their own chassis and engine, whatever,
right?
Then they would get concessions, but not with just changing the chassis. Saying it's the same as gas, right?
I was going to say it's not just like gas.
Yeah. So look, it's like they won't have any concessions. You know what I mean? Because technically it's a KTM bike, and that's it. You know.
But this season it's exciting. I can't even. First off, I don't even know how with all the crashes and the 8 bikes screwing them up, having 8 bikes screwed up Ducati so bad for the first 5 races. I don't even know how they're in there at all.
I think it just shows you the power of their engineering team.
Yeah.
And how absolutely dangerous they're going to be next year.
Yep. Yeah,
420, 423s, all going to be the same.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Do you know what I mean? They're going to be lethal. Like, do you know what I mean? And
and they can transfer data when the bikes are all the same. It's not like this year; they couldn't transfer the data because everything all.
I genuinely believe they'll only be able to transfer the data of 3. I do believe from race 1, Zarco will have a different chassis.
Oh, okay. His will be 3 and then one test mule do the yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah. That's where I think it will go.
Yeah.
And I do think that's what, in my view, that's what kind of affected Martin this year, was that he is really the only one on the pure 22. Okay,
Yeah.
Marini is there as well, right? But I think Marini, like, how do I say? Okay, Martin did have an issue with his arm, right? But as soon as Martin started going well, a couple of races later, Marini started going well, and it's like that natural hand-me-down thing.
Yes.
So that's what I think. But I think next year it'll be very interesting if there's 4 of the same bikes, 3 will be definitely identical, and away we go. And look, Pecco was right at the start of the year. He's like, just leave the fucking bike alone.
Yeah.
And let's slightly adjust it, not like change everything every fucking session that we go out. You know what I mean? That it's completely different. Mm-hmm. And as soon as they kind of started doing that, he started gaining a bit of confidence with it, and whatever. Maybe that whole drink driving incident gave him a kick in the arse, and he came back and
drunk driving. 0.025 with a crock of shit. Yeah,
I know. Yeah. But look, like what he's had 6 race wins this year. It's like twice more than anyone else.
Yeah. You got to give him that. There hasn't been a race season this exciting to like Roberts and Spencer in '83.
Do you want something else? Who's the only manufacturer not to win this year?
Honda. Yeah.
Now they're the real odd one out.
Yeah. But all the fanboys will say, "Oh, look, the Honda's great again." No, it's not. No, it's not.
No, it's not.
No, the Yamaha, it is. I get these guys in one. If a great rider making a shitty bike win does not improve the bike. It
just masks the problem. No, it just masks
the problem. Now, it doesn't mean your bike that you want to win is great again. It's not the way it works.
No. But it is in the executive's mind. The guys that are minding the old couple of bucks there, and they don't want to be spending money that they feel that they don't need to because the bike is already winning.
Yes.
And I think if you look at the philosophy that Ducati have, I think that's the philosophy to go with. Because if you look at, so you have Pecco in first now, you have Fabio in second, you have Aleix in third, you have Bastianini in fourth, and I don't know who's in fifth now, but let's just say it's Miller, right? Mm-hmm. You have 3 bikes in the top 5 in the world.
Yeah, and Bastianini had a hell of a run.
He did. He's mega at saving those tires, isn't he?
Yeah, he made up what he came from.
He was 18th. He was 18th at one stage. I was like, what?
Yeah, that's right. 18th to 5th. I mean, that's a hell of a run. You got to give it to him.
Yeah, and look, he's awesome on keeping the tires. So like, he's going to be very dangerous next year. I think Martin is going to be very dangerous also because he has very much so a point to prove.
He faded though. He faded at the end. I hope it was.
He did, yeah.
I hope it's not his wrist. I really hope. You don't hear me coming back to it. You don't hear anybody else say it. But I just been seeing that problem be so bad to other people in sports where that wrist never seems to get back to what's normal if you're on it all the time.
Listen, once they cut you open, you're never the same again, no matter what or bone it is or whatever it is.
Well, it's not arm pump. It's the nerves going through the wrist, and you're always on your wrist. It's not like it's like a knee. Why do people's knees not always go back and they have 5 or 6 operations? Because you're always standing on your knees. You're always on putting pressure on it, so it never gets right. You can't tell somebody, oh, you need a knee operation, and you have to sit, not use your legs for 6 months. Same thing with his wrist. If he's always on it, it never really has the chance to heal up.
Look, I just think it's going to be very interesting. Like it's do or die next year for him.
Yeah.
He
has speed.
He has raw speed. I wonder though, with the mentality, does he have enough there to start? Winning, and I mean that in the highest respect. Is like, if you were to put Martin and Bezzecchi together, right? Bezzecchi is a rookie in the class. Who is the one with the more mature head to stay calm in the situation?
Yeah, right.
And I would favor Bezzecchi to actually stay calm, keep it under control. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's the bit that's missing from Martin at the moment. If you could put Zarco's head on his speed,
yes,
you'd have the complete rider in my view. But yeah, look, I'm super excited for next weekend. Obviously streaming as well. For those, I'm not sure about qualifying, but definitely for Friday practice and the race. It's at a kind of a more manageable hour this week for people in Ireland.
You've been doing a hell of a job, by the way. You've been going above and beyond, and just the content's been faster than that. It really is. Yeah,
thanks, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, look, I love doing it. And listen, look, these are questions, I suppose, and maybe people don't understand. Is like, these are questions when I read articles online that I'd be sitting and thinking about. Do you know what I mean? When I'm reading them, do you know what I mean? It's not that I go off and find the stories and whatever, but like the stuff that I do read, I start thinking, Joe, and I put it out there and let people decide, and that's what.
Yeah, but the important bit. We don't. This channel, it doesn't have any axe to grind either.
No.
Push one way or push for this team or push for this to be banned or rules to be changed or blah 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 blah.
Yeah. I just think it, like, I agree that it is a prototype class. Do I like how the wings look? I don't. I think it takes away the prettiness of a bike, right?
Right. It's ugly.
But I understand that why it's there and what it's there for,
Right.
If it gets to a stage of where the wings are dangerous to the riders, sure.
But now it's safe for the riders, because even when Pecco even lessened it, he's like, oh, this thing stinks. And Simon Crafar, he was against the wings. He was old. He thought, oh, they look ugly. But then when he rode it, he's like, oh, this is why we have it. My God, it changes the bike. This is why so much paper with it.
And look, I understand the purposes of it, and like, for me, if you have a bad race, you have a bad race, and it's okay for people to call out, and then that you had a bad race. Morbidelli is the perfect example of this, and I'm not the only one saying Morbidelli needs to leave, right? If you go onto any forums or this, that, and the other, other people are like, man, it doesn't change the fact that Morbidelli is trying his absolute best. We know that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And my view is that it's actually devaluing the actual rider that he is, like, trying to continue to get on with the bike that he can't, or he just can't get on with. Do you know what I mean? I would prefer to see him winning in Superbike than finishing in second place or in second last place in MotoGP, because that's more inspiring for him. For me, I would be naturally a fan of Frank. I think he has the absolute best attitude. I still remember to this day one of the press conferences that Frankie was supposed to be at, and Rossi had to ring him and say, "You're supposed to be here," and he's like, "Oh yeah." And Rossi came off the phone. He's like, "Yeah, he's so relaxed. He's on his way, but it'll be a few months." It's just like, and I get it. He is a class individual, and I hate seeing him finishing down there. It's horrifying, really.
I don't even know if he can make it in World Superbike with it anymore. I mean, the way he's been riding, I wonder if there's another one. I wonder if it's his knee that never got better. I've never seen a knee surgery go complete where it completely fixed it ever. Not even close.
Yeah, look, I don't think it's about whether it's completely fixed, but like, okay, he may still have an issue with his knee, but I think it's more of a mental thing now, where like he's questioning himself.
Mm-hmm. And you would,
and you do, like, even when you're winning, right? Imagine when you haven't won since 2019.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
So look, for me, it's just one of those things, like when you start to doubt yourself and this, that, and the other, how do you come back? And I just think for Morbidelli, maybe the Yamaha is not right. Doesn't mean that he should go out of MotoGP either. Do you know what I mean? But just the Yamaha does not suit you.
Right.
So if it's an ugly duckling, it's an ugly duckling, and you can't change it.
Yeah, but the races, these final two races, I'm going to get so excited. I won't be able to watch the damn TV. I don't know about you. I'll be like, oh, I can't watch this. It's I have to walk out of the room, back in the room, oh God.
No, I'll watch it. All right, I'll watch it, and I'll correct you then when you're like, oh, this will I do it. No, I didn't.
I missed that. I thought I like that woman who puts her hands over her face in a horror movie. Like, oh no.
Well, I should start calling you Lynn Jarvis.
Yeah.
Jarvis's reaction when Quadraro went off today, but.
He looked like somebody just like slept with his wife. He's like, oh man.
Yeah, when that's ruined.
Yeah.
But no, look, I think today's race was brilliant. I am as well. I'm really excited for next weekend. As I said, we'll definitely stream. We'll do a couple of videos as well. And yeah, look, that's about it for this week. Thank you so much for joining, Jake. But it'll be superly interesting. And we'll be back again. I'll be back again tomorrow with more videos, streaming this weekend. And love to hear what you think of what we were talking about today.
Yeah, and hit subscribe, guys. We're trying to hit 6,000. We're getting there. We're getting to 6,000. He's working his ass off. So
that's it.
All right.
Every day. Thank you very much, Jake, and thanks, guys, and we'll see you all again soon.
Take care.
I just want to take a minute to also thank you for watching my videos and the support that you've shown so far. If you haven't subscribed already and you would like to subscribe, it would mean an awful lot to me if you did. I'm starting this channel realistically so that we can all enjoy MotoGP together, with the aim of streaming a live video when the GP races are on.